Hey, Gemini, Mel, Intuitive Coach here. Excited to bring in your November 2025 monthly reading. All right, let's open up your energy field and take a look at what the month ahead has in store for you. Now, Gemini, your sixth house of health, well-being, and daily routines is highlighted, which means many of you are feeling called to get grounded, to get focused and intentional about how you move through your day, really aligning your body, your mind, and spirit with commitments and rituals or tasks that serve your highest purpose. So if you've been wanting to shake things up a bit, this is your month to do so. I am getting energetic maintenance is the name of the game for you this month. For some of you, you have felt stuck in low motivation, or you've been stuck in a routine that hasn't been serving you. Maybe this is scrolling on social media for hours on end. This could be eating junk food or keeping your thoughts stuck to an energy of the past. And I see for many of you, your sixth house is helping you get organized. You are getting organized by maybe even decluttering your space, setting clear priorities. This could be at work. It could be in your relationships. It could be helping you create boundaries when it comes to any area of your life. But really, it comes back to health and well-being. And that can affect your life in many different ways. But I feel like you are refining how you move your body. If many of you sit for hours on end, you may be setting a new habit or ritual to make sure you're getting up, make sure you're stretching, make sure you're moving your body more. You may be looking at the foods that you are eating, what you are drinking, who you surround yourself with. And I see that this month you're creating habits that help you restore your energy so you can fully show up to life. And that feels like it's been difficult to do some days where your energy just has felt very tired, or I'm getting sticky, because some of you have gone through a Three of Swords moment here. Three of Swords moment can be heartbreak. It can be loss. It can be difficulty. And that can keep us feeling stuck in a bit of a rut. So for those of you that have felt a bit stuck lately, especially when it comes to maybe finances here, this is one of your key themes. When it comes to letting go, or even trusting in the highest good, trusting in your faith. Some of you have been questioning here, maybe even doubting your path, doubting your gifts, and questioning, why am I here? What am I doing? What's the next step? And sometimes we question our faith and our higher power. And I see for many of you, this is a month where you are doing some of that energetic maintenance, but you're also seeing signs and symbols that you're not walking this path alone. So let's start off with trust here. Now, for many of you, you are being guided to ask, how can I bring more intention and soul into the ordinary moments of your day? So it's about getting honest with yourself and saying, am I spending too much time focused on this area that's not serving me? It's actually draining me or depleting me. But it starts with honesty. That's why honest assessment is showing up. It's about commitments, which we spoke of, committing yourself to tasks and rituals or routines that are going to be beneficial, even if they may be difficult starting. I feel once you start them, once you get into a routine, you're going to feel a lot more motivated to keep on going. And Spirit is showing me the book by, I believe it's James Clear, Atomic Habits. Some of you could be reading that book. Some of you may have read it in the past, but you changing one thing throughout your day, even if it's 5 minutes, if it's 15 minutes, it really adds up to big results. And that's what this month is all about for you, getting honest about what needs changing, and then trusting that by taking this leap leap of faith, things are going to start moving in a new direction here for you. And I see that happening. You have a beautiful ace showing up in your energy. And this means that you're opening up to that spark of inspiration, that spark of spiritual trust coming through here. And it may require you to let go of what no longer serves you, Gemini. This could be outdated thinking. It could be foods or habits that are causing you to feel low momentum, just low vibes. You're going to know what this is for you because each and every one of us have something that we may fall into from time to time that we know isn't always the healthiest. But if this has been a habitual issue for you, perhaps you've wanted to quit smoking. Perhaps some of you have wanted to quit drinking, or you've wanted to finally say no to that individual that keeps taking advantage, right? Whatever it is for you, I feel like this is the month where Scorpio's energy can be intense. And Scorpio is helping you move away from those patterns that keep you stuck. This is about liberating yourself, Gemini. It's about goodbyes, growth, ascension, closure. Yeah, what I'm seeing here with this Three of Swords is some of you have been harboring past resentments, past pain, or heaviness that has really taken you down in some way. It has really taken a hit to your confidence, or some of you may have even fell into a deep depression, loneliness, or isolation. And this month you are being asked to kind of get honest with what next steps need to be taken and to reach out if need be, because you're not alone here. I see that there is a support system or resources available here for you. This is life lessons, and it feels like there's more of a flow coming in through getting organized, through compartmentalizing and using your time management in a more efficient way. And we also have finances showing up as a key theme for you. So as I've mentioned, Gemini, some of you are being guided to set clear boundaries at work or with your money. Taking a look at your money story here. This is about abundance. It's about improving time management and efficiency, because you may be opening the threshold for a new income source to enter your world. Whether you are a business owner, this could be a side hustle that you are wanting to turn into a full-time gig, or some of you are bouncing up a couple of different opportunities at this time, and this is the month to get organized, to get focused here on what it is that you need to do and the steps that you need to take to get to where you want to go. So financially here, there could even be a payout for your hard work. That's a reminder for those of you that may just be getting started on something new. And it's also a reminder not to give up. If you have been struggling financially, or if there has been difficulty here with your abundance, tapping into that flow of abundance, I see that through shaking up your routine, your perspective here, and resources that we see in your energy, there's going to be something beautiful blossoming, especially in the financial department. And we'll clarify here more so when we get into career, money, and abundance in this category here later on. Now, bottom of the deck, we have ascension. This is soul advancement. You know, when we undergo any sort of maintenance, right? It's because there's been a bit of a leak. Let's take a look at underneath the kitchen sink, right? There's a leak in the plumbing, and we don't realize it until we open the cupboard underneath and we see that there's water everywhere, but we don't often realize it until something has become too much. And I see that for many of you, you're getting to that point where you have opened the cupboard and you're seeing that something is no longer working in the way that it should properly. And that's why there's energetic maintenance taking place here for you this month, Gemini, because your soul is upgrading, and that is going to require you to address some of the underlying issues here so you can move on to the next level. And for many of you, I feel like you have this heightened sense of spiritual awareness. Many of you that are watching today, you're highly sensitive to the energies around you. You're highly intuitive. And I am getting here perhaps brain fog, or there's been memory issues, memory problems. Some of you maybe even mold, because that leak, I'm being shown a leak here, possibly in like a bathroom area, or a leak with plumbing. So if that is you, make sure that you are getting tested for any sort of mold, or if that has been an issue of the past, that can certainly contribute to some chronic issues. But of course, take that as it resonates. But I see here that you've gone through a lot personally, and you are evolving and you're growing. So if there is maintenance to be had, trust that this is a good thing, because it's healing things, it's smoothing things out so they can be restored back into working order. So I feel for many of you, some of you are saying, Mel, I've been under maintenance for quite some time, but I see that there is advancement coming in here for you, even if you can't quite see it just yet. Now, let's dive into the tarot. We have the Three of Swords. There's been a difficulty, Gemini, that you have endured. Perhaps this was a very challenging argument or a heartbreak that you have dealt with. For some of you, there's been a loss of a loved one, or there's been some form of betrayal or grief or even unresolved emotional pain that has caused one to become bitter, or caused one to question faith, or question their own trust in mankind, trust in oneself. And what I see here is the heart activating. You are starting to chip away at some of those walls that have been built up around this heart space. And the sixth house also rules service, as I've mentioned. So you are looking at, how you can help others, right? By using your skills in a more meaningful way, or how others can help you, and being able to receive, because that can be difficult when we don't trust. It's difficult to receive. So there's a lot happening around the heart center here for you. And I see that you are moving on. You're moving on from some of this pain, because this maintenance here is helping clear the way for new beginnings to open up. And that's why we have the Four of Wands and the Ace of Wands. Some of you are going to be doing a happy dance. Now, because health and well-being is centered in your sixth house, you may be moving the body through dance, through maybe you're taking salsa dancing classes, or hip hop, or maybe even Pilates or yoga. This could be in the comfort of your own home. Perhaps you are attending to classes at your local gym or YMCA, and some of you moving the body is going to shift everything. And this could be a daily habit or ritual or routine that you incorporate, and it really starts to shake up something within yourself. Even if this is 5 minutes of jumping jacks while you're waiting for your coffee to brew, or you're waiting for your tea water to get hot enough, right? I feel for many of you, you're starting to open up, and you're feeling these channels within the body, right? Your meridian points, your chakra centers are becoming more activated, telling you to shake things up a bit. And you have this inspiring energy coming through with the Ace of Wands. Now, the Four of Wands is all about connection, cooperation, and it could be even a celebratory energy. Some of you may even be moving. There could be marriage, there may be family, or some form of stability coming through after heartbreak, after a loss or a difficulty here. So I see a happy dance coming through for many of you, because you're finally seeing that there's a new threshold here. There is a new sense of purpose. There's a new idea, a new beginning. This is about the potential. And many of you are saying yes to this new energy that is showing up in your life. And it's also connected to the spirit. Wands represent the fire, the spirit within us all. And many of you are stepping into a new career or new projects or new routines that are going to help you feel more alive. That's what I'm getting here for you. Because the Three of Swords can take one down. It can take you down a notch where you don't feel very active, like you're not actively participating in this thing called life, because pain, disappointment, loss, sorrow, that can be heavy. And sometimes we sit in that heaviness for days, weeks, months, or even years at a time, where there's a big shift happening. And I think that sixth house for you is really powerful. So moving into your reciprocity, if you will, the Six of Pentacles, this is give and take. It's generosity. And remember, I mentioned resources. With that Four of Wands, there's something steady coming in, because fours represent structure. Fours represent the foundation through planning, through you being able to get honest with yourself and recognize some of the patterns, some of the thoughts that have been coming through your energy field. There may be a very generous offer coming in, and it could be unexpected for some of you. It could be out of the blue, but the Six of Pentacles is also about a gift. It could be a gift, a donation. It could be a scholarship, a loan, some sort of charitable contribution here. It may even be that there's someone coming in that is helping you. There's a beautiful exchange of energy taking place. And if you have felt like things have been imbalanced here, whether this has been an imbalance in your health, if you have been working hard to see results. Let's say you have been exercising and you've been eating the right foods that your body is telling you, this is what I need to help restore. I feel like this is the month where you're starting to see results from your hard work, or you're starting to shake up your routine and you're feeling good about it. You're feeling good about the energy exchange, but it requires you to make some choices here to get honest with what you need to do to release and really step into trusting in your next steps. So Six of Pentacles is a beautiful confirmation that there certainly is an unexpected gift or resource coming your way. Next, you have the Page of Wands. Look at all this fire showing up for you, Gemini. This is a beautiful month of inspiration, of creativity. Your willpower here is being backed up by spiritual forces, by your spiritual team, your guides, your angels, your loved ones, and you are able to express yourself in new ways, or Spirit wants you to express yourself in ways that bring you joy, that bring you pleasure, and that also help you feel more alive. Now, the Page of Wands, he is the student of life. All of the pages are students. I believe we are constantly oscillating between student and teacher, where we're always a student of life, no matter what age. And Spirit is asking you to get curious this month, to get creative, and to look at things through the eyes of a child. What does that mean? The eyes of wonder, right? The eyes of not naivety, but being able to not let the conditioning of the past creep up and cause you to default back into old patterns. That's what it means here. And many of you have felt at times like you weren't able to fully focus or prioritize, or maybe you've become bored, or you became antsy and you didn't stay consistent here to some of these goals, or it felt like external factors or sources were kind of playing against you at times. And for some of you, this could even be playing with your own inner child, letting little him or her come out and have fun. Maybe you've been taking life so seriously. You may have children of your own or grandchildren. Perhaps you work with children in some capacity, but I see that your inner child is craving some sort of attention. And the attention is, let's have fun, let's dance, let's move, let's shake things up in our routine. You know how children are always on the go? They're always moving. They're curious. They want to play. They want to connect. I feel like that's the energy of the month where you are being asked to move your body, open yourself up to new communities, new friends, and to get curious about exploring perhaps some new skills or some new talents here, to showcase yourself in ways that maybe in the past you've felt too vulnerable or you've doubted your gifts. This is really a month to be of service and express yourself authentically. Next, you have strength. Strength has been showing up for a lot of signs in the month of November. This tells me that, yes, there's going to be some hardships. We're already seeing some changes. We have been for quite some time, but economically and within the systems here. And I see many of you are taking a look at how you can be more compassionate with yourself. And you may be looking at some of the shadow side of what's going on, but I feel like you're not letting the shadow get the best of you. You're noticing it, you're recognizing it with that Three of Swords, but I feel like you are being asked to face some of these fears, even if they're difficult, because when strength shows up, there is not anything, not one thing that you cannot overcome. You have this ability to face your fears, to gain this sense of self-control by releasing what's out of your control, not focusing on those things that you can't do anything about, but kind of reprogramming what's right in front of you. And taking a look at your own health and well-being so you can show up and be the best version of yourself, perhaps as a wife or a husband or as a parent, as a coworker, as a boss. But I feel like you are taking care of you and saying, what do I need in this moment? How can I restore my energy? How can I be more compassionate, more kind, more loving to myself? How can I fill my own cup? And that's what strength is reminding you. For one, that you are stronger than you believe yourself to be, and that you have the ability not to let the nervous system dysregulate or to stay in that fight or flight response, but to find that inner strength within, that inner courage that you have to be able to regulate your nervous system, even when the external world seems to be chaotic. And that is a big level of mastery that you are incorporating into your routines this month if you haven't already. Perhaps somatic healing, breath work, meditation, or any sort of rituals that you can do to help you calm the mind and find that center within, whatever that may be for you. Now, when it comes to health, we have strength here. This can be issues with overworking yourself, your body, your mind even. It can be exhaustion. It may be taking a look at your lifestyle and your habits. And if you are feeling unhealthy in any areas, this is the month to take your power back. Now, strength rules the core parts of the human body, such as the heart we talked about here, the back, the ribs, the spine. Now, this can also be circulatory issues here. And we talked about getting moving, just like a child, doesn't sit in one spot long. And we're often telling children to stay put or to sit, but they're not meant to, because they're full of energy, because the chakras are, flowing all together. But as we are conditioned, as we move through life, we tend to not be as active, or we tend to sit for longer periods. And for those of you, again, that have felt sedentary or you have sat for long periods, this is the time to try to move the body in the best way possible and not feel like a failure, even if you can only move for a couple of minutes at a time. At least you are starting. All right. And that is what's important for you this month. Just start, even if it's only 2 minutes or 5 minutes, just start. And then you're going to feel that momentum pick up pace. Now, strength also talks about vitality here and posture. For some of you, I'm getting posture. So this could be a dress where some of you may be wanting to address posture, sitting up better. But I'm also getting the way that you walk. Some of you may be walking where your head is looking down or your shoulders may be slouched. I feel like it is important for you to compose yourself in a way that feels strong, that feels open, because oftentimes we don't realize that, our energy is withdrawn and we're kind of crouching down. We're not open to receiving. So do pay attention to your posture. And, if your arms are closed when you're talking to someone, take a look at the body's cues and signs, because that can also alert you of what's going on within your nervous system. And if you've been wanting to get a massage, if you are able to, or if you've been wanting to get any sort of, circulatory energies flowing, this is really the time to address any of those issues. Now, I'm also getting, I mentioned mold earlier, but I'm also getting pollutants, or if you live in a city or if you live in a location that has any sort of pollutants in the air. I mean, I feel like we all have something, but I see that may have impacted someone's energy. Maybe this is like nuclear power. I'm also getting electronics for those of you that work with electronics daily. And this is something that I've also had to set a boundary for myself, because I've found myself taking my phone everywhere or checking my phone, and I've set boundaries where there's certain periods, certain times, certain limits that I'll put on my electronics and say, no, I'm going to get out in nature, or I'm going to go for a walk and I'm not going to check this, or I'm going to shut this off while I sleep, or not answer emails at a certain time. So for those of you that work with electronics quite often, this is the time to really address those boundaries, because there can be, energetic frequencies that we can't always see, but that can certainly impact and take a toll on our health. So let's dive into career, finances, and money. Well, there has been some form of loss here. Now, when the loss card comes up, it says a major phase in your life is ending. Embrace newness. So that connects to the Three of Swords. Some of you may have been affected by the government shutdown or the loss of benefits in some way, perhaps a job loss. This could be a family member you may have separated from, there may be a divorce, and you don't have the abundance that you once had in some capacity. And that has been very difficult for many of you. But I see that there is a new chapter opening up, as it says. And it says, let go of what was so you can focus your energy on what is ahead of you. I just heard the name Howard. Okay, Howard could be your name. Perhaps it's a loved one in spirit. It could be a boss or someone that you work with. And I see the rose. There's something here about a single rose. I think there's actually two on this card, but I'm getting a single rose. And some of you may connect to a rose. Maybe that is someone's name. Pruning the rose bushes, the rose gardens could be symbolic, but roses also represent love. And I feel like some of you may have felt at a loss for maybe what you once used to love, or there's been kind of an empty void, an empty space here. The grief of loss continues to be an obstacle for some of you. And this could be a month where you're starting to change your habits little by little that can help you undergo some of this healing. all right, that can help you kind of take a look at things from a different perspective. Because as I mentioned, that Three of Swords can keep you on lockdown for quite some time. So there is a phase that is ending, and you are being asked to embrace this new door that's opening with this Ace of Wands. Now, by late November, the sun shifts into Sagittarius, your 7th house of relationships, and that includes professional relationships as well. So this is about, structure and balance. I see that many of you are going to connect to new clientele or new coworkers. This could be a new boss even, or people that you work with. It feels like those bonds, those relationships strengthen by the end of the month. Now we have silence coming through here. Silence is about you continuing to build, but you're increasing your personal power by not sharing everything, because some of you don't want to be judged. You don't want to be criticized, or you don't want maybe people to steal your ideas even, or you don't want people to kind of rain on your parade. It says not everyone is honest and trustworthy. Oh, because we have trust here as a key theme, you've been let down by maybe someone of higher authority. I'm getting Emperor, so this could be a governing agency. It could be being let down by someone that you once trusted or you thought had your back. And I feel like that has impacted your trust in many ways. And now you're continuing to open yourself up to something new, but you may not be sharing that with everybody until you get to that point where you're ready to share, is the message I'm getting. So for some of you, you may be leaving a toxic job or a workplace that, no longer serves you. There has been a breach of trust, or there's been unhealthy dynamics that you've had to struggle through with strength. It feels like you've been micromanaged here. There hasn't been reciprocity. Some of you have been looking for new income sources, a new job, a new company here. Or if you are a business owner, I see that you have been working on creating new talent, new skills, new material, new services, and you've been keeping that to yourself until you feel ready, or until there's an opportunity that fully opens up. And that's where that Ace of Wands comes in, because there we have the windfall. And because the coffin was showing up here, some of you, this is going to be an inheritance from a loved one that's crossed over. This could also be some sort of legal settlement, or it could be back pay that was owed to you. I see that there's going to be a windfall of money coming in here, or even a pay raise, where things start to flow in a positive cycle again. Yeah, there's a beautiful windfall coming after some form of hardship, Gemini. So that is good. That's light at the end of the tunnel. But you've had to be strong. You've had to kind of hold things together. And some of you felt like you were at your breaking point with the Strength and the Three of Swords. But I see some really beautiful opportunities of reciprocity, resources, and support coming in the meantime. All right, let's look at love, partnerships, relationships, and family. All right, that's where trust could have been severed for some of you as well. Now, of course, this could be personal or professional relationships, but we have the backstabbing, and there's the heartbreak. So someone here in your energetic field has disappointed you. There's been a loss, there's been separation, or there's maybe even been a shocking attack in some capacity, or lies or deception. And it really left an imprint, because you can see that this pomegranate is cut with a butter knife. And I always say, if you try to cut a pomegranate with a butter knife, it is going to be messy. It's not a clean cut. And pomegranates stain, right? They stain your hands. No matter how many times you try to wash your hands of it, it's still there. So for many of you, you've tried to wash your hands of this situation, but it has left its imprint. And some of you, that has attributed to a belief system, or an old story, or an old wound that you were working on releasing. Now, you do have talking here. So for those of you that are wanting to open up to new connections here, or even if this is an existing relationship and there's been a really nasty argument or something very challenging or struggling that has occurred between the both of you, there may be a connection here. I'm being shown judgment in my mind's eye. And judgment can be a second chance, but it doesn't have to be with someone of the past. It certainly can be. But for those of you that are wanting to connect and open yourself up to maybe meeting new people, you do have dating showing up here. So you have the Page of Wands, the Ace of Wands. There could be a very beautiful conversation or a date that leads into really getting to know someone on a deeper level. You could even be dating online for those of you that are into online dating. This could be a special date in the month of November. Now, because you have the Four of Wands, that is the 1111 energy. So that 1111 portal could be significant for you, Gemini. I love 1111. I always make a vision board around that date. 1111 is all ones, right? So it's all new beginnings. It's basically a snapshot of what you want to manifest and what your soul is truly seeking to bring about into reality. And for many of you, you want to connect. Excuse me, you want to feel a part of a community or a tribe. You may be seeking a new bestie or someone that you can talk to. I'm also getting therapists. For those of you that may be talking to a therapist, perhaps you are even connecting to like a new teacher. This can be a new mentor, a new guide. This is someone who you are able to text, someone that you're able to call or email or just expand. I'm getting expansion through relationships here. So I do see someone showing up here with equal give and take that's going to be very beneficial in helping you through some of these hard times. All right. Lastly, we have be bold. Be bold. Stand in your power. Your time to shine is now. It has to start with you. Now is your time to take your life in your hands and be who you are ready to step into. Who is the person you want to be? Show up as him or her now. How does the person you want to be show up in their life? Create a vision board, beautiful, or journal of how you want your life to be, and then show up as that person. Today, this is your mantra. Today, I stand confidently and boldly in my power. Not only is this energetic maintenance occurring and happening, but you are going to feel so much better, so much lighter, especially as you let go and you release some of those old energetic patterns, habits, or dynamics or stories that have weighed heavy upon you. And lastly here, we have the empty room. This is your archetype. I'm going to find it in the guidebook. One moment. All right, Gemini. The empty room is the vortex, the abyss, the nothing. The empty room haunts us all. It is the universal and all too frequent feeling of lack, of wanting, of the craving to fill ourselves with something, anything. We too often attempt to remedy the discomfort of the empty room by any means necessary, leading us to a culture of more. Ironically, the empty room is filled to the brim with potential, yet we perceive it as not enough. This card is a cry for patience, for sitting within the barren walls of not knowing, for awaiting true vision and purpose before attaching to what we should do next to save our outward appearance. Be with the nothingness. Be with the impatience. The empty room has immense power. Let others wonder what you are doing. If you can settle into the magic of emptiness, you will soon hear its whispers of wisdom. When this is showing up as the light aspect, it's spaciousness, potential, possibility. When it's showing up as the dark, it's addiction, insatiability, and more for more's sake. The archetype of the empty room is also portrayed as the hungry ghost, always feeding and never satiated. A day of silence is a surefire way to harness the power of the empty room. And because you have the silence card showing up regarding finances, some of you, that's where the hungry ghost resides. Maybe in your career or finances or money. And I see that you will soon hear its whispers of wisdom, right? That's where compassion lives. That's where the strength, this beautiful energy comes from. And you have it here. And as I've mentioned, strength has been showing up for a lot of signs lately. So this is universal. This is a collective energy that we're all going through at this time. And we will all soon hear the whispers of wisdom. All right. And you are being asked here to not feed into the hungry ghost. That is what I have for you, Gemini. If you enjoyed the reading, if it resonated, please hit that thumbs up button. It certainly helps get the divine channeled messages out there to those that need it most. It certainly helps the spiritual algorithm as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are interested in a personal reading or signing up for the monthly newsletter, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video or by visiting intuitivesoulcoach.com. Thank you so much for being here, Gem. Lots of love.